Saudhan, let's combat COVID-19. I welcome Dr. PJ Srinivas Garu, Associate Professor, Department of Community Medicine, Andhra Medical College, Visakhapatnam, and Dr. KKL Prasad Garu, MBBS MD, Assistant Professor, Department of Community Medicine, Andhra Medical College, Visakhapatnam. Welcome you, sir. From here on, we'll be carrying on with the question and answers Q&A, and all the participants who are here can have your questions posted in the chat so that we'll address that questions later on. And if you have any queries during the Q&A session, you can raise the hand and we'll unmute one by one and we'll address the questions you are asking, and I'll unmute you one by one. How do I know if I have COVID-19? Sir, Shinu sir, you are going to explain this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So generally, for a COVID-19 case, the most common symptoms are fever, sore throat, and dry cough, and breathlessness. So anybody, if they feel that they have these symptoms, any of the two at least, not all, but any associated, for example, fever associated with dry cough or fever associated with sore throat, so they may suspect themselves and they can go for a testing.
So as Srinivas was talking about the common symptoms, that is fever, dry cough, breathlessness, sore throat. These are the common symptoms, and there is a possibility that sometimes the patients or the persons who got infected may not have symptoms. That what we call as an asymptomatic transmission. We are more worried about the symptomatic transmission. So people having any of the symptoms like fever, cough, dry cough, any of that, sore throat, and breathlessness. In some cases, we are seeing about some studies have showed that there is a chance of getting diarrhea associated with, there are some associated with, and there are some symptoms like general body weaknesses, headache. These are also symptoms that the patient might present. So the question is, why should we worry about this asymptomatic patients or asymptomatic transmission? We are more worried of symptomatic transmission because WHO in recent guidelines, in the recent bulletin, has told that a symptomatic person can, the viral load in the symptomatic person is very high, and from the symptoms, from the next coming 3 days, he is more, the person can spread the disease at more. So once the person has infection, once the person starts symptoms, so from the day, for the next 3 days, he is going to spread the disease at large. So this asymptomatic person, that means the person who gets infected, but this person doesn't show infection. So these persons are not, are at, as this says that they are not, we should not worried about these asymptomatic transmission.
Okay, sir. Can I proceed to the next?
Can I add something?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, in some cases in UK, actually, we came to know that they are having symptoms like anosmia, that is loss of taste, or loss of smell. So these are also some symptoms which are associated with COVID. These are not generalized. That is, every person or every suspect or every case will not having these things, but some people might have these sort of symptoms. So anybody has these things also, they may also suspect themselves and they can go for testing. So the gold standard is the most common symptoms are 4: the fever, sore throat, dry cough, and breathlessness.
Okay, sir. Okay. Can we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay. What are the symptoms of COVID-19? We hear some people don't have symptoms, is without symptoms. How can they spread virus?
Yeah, already Dr. Prasad has discussed about it.
Okay,
So
sir.
symptoms already I told.
Okay.
And actually what happens is in the majority of the cases in COVID-19, they are asymptomatic.
Okay.
That is, they will not having any symptoms, what I told you earlier. But still, as a routine procedure, or sometimes if they feel that they come in contact with any positive person, or they have some travel history, visited some places, so they may feel suspicious that they are likely to be affected by COVID, so they can be tested. So actually, in some cases, what we heard is they are screened routinely and they have been tested positive, but they did not have any symptoms. So these sort of cases are also there. So there is no hard and fast rule that every case will have symptoms of the disease.
Okay. Sir, is there anything to add? Prasad,
No. Yeah. Okay, next.
fine. What is the similarity between COVID-19, flu, common cold, and influenza?
Yeah, can I speak?
Yeah, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all these are actually belong to a common group of viruses.
Okay.
And all these are spread mostly by droplets. Droplets means the small particles which come out while sneezing or coughing or speaking, etc. But the thing is, COVID-19 is more contagious and more contagious means the areas where we need to take care of compared to the other flu or common cold is that it will be harbored in any inanimate objects. They are called as fomites actually. Fomites means, for example, we have a mobile phone. So we go to an office where the mobile phone will be placed on the table, somebody coughs or somebody sneezes. So those particles, the droplets will be deposited on the mobile or some file or a book or whatever it may be. So when you again catch that, and if you don't clean your wash your hand properly or don't maintain personal hygiene, the chances of transmission is very high in COVID-19. Unlike flu or common cold, where mostly it occurs by sneezing and mostly by coughing or where the droplets come and you are affected by that.
Sir, Prasad, sir, is there anything to add?
Nothing to add. Yeah.
Fine, sir. We'll be moving on to the next one. Where do we get facts about COVID-19?
There are some sites like we have a WHO site, we have a cdc.gov.in,
Okay.
and we have a National Institute of Health and Family Welfare, and
Okay.
COVID-19 GOV itself. Our government, Indian government, is also running a site, so we can get information, the facts about COVID-19.
Okay. And Srinu, sir, are there any additions?
Yeah, facts in the sense not only from the websites, you can see even the television, the media. So the social media are also doing it. But what I mean to say is, you should try to differentiate what is good and what is bad in the social media. But what I can tell you is there is so much of publicity, wide publicity given regarding how it is transmitted, what will be the symptoms, what are the testing areas, so on and so forth. So these things should be followed by the community, the public at large, so that the chance of spreading of the disease in our country will be minimized and the chances of damage or the mortality related to the COVID-19 will be lessened.
Okay. Okay. What are the treatments for COVID-19? Sir.
Okay. So actually for treatments, there are various modes of treatments. Actually, it being a new disease. So this does not have a standard format of disease treatment modalities. but we have so much of literature from China, from US, from UK, and so on. So with that, they have formulated some guidelines. So we have a highest body in our country, that is Indian Council of Medical Research. So they will be devising some treatment formats, that is which patient should be treated with which type of drugs, etc. So basing on that, the standard operating procedures will be followed by the doctors concerned. And apart from the drugs, there are newer things like plasmapheresis. For example, the plasma of a positive patient who is treated and who is found negative later. So
Yeah.
the blood will be extracted.
Hydrochloroquine.
The plasma will be taken and it will be given to a seriously ill patient, and it has given a very good results actually. So the plasma therapy is now is a trending in India. Actually, the states will have to get permission from the ICMR and other national level guidelines. So already Kerala, Karnataka, they have started, and Andhra Pradesh is also in the offing, and most likely it will be starting very shortly.
Is there anything to add about the treatments of COVID-19, sir? Professor, Srinivas, sir.
Yes. More to add, like the treatment modality is it's like a range of treatment modality. Initially, the patient only at initial level of disease, we give only symptomatic treatment. Then if it goes further, then we have other treatments that I was talking ICMR given protocols like giving azithromycin, hydroxychloroquine. And if still the patient is not responsive and he is unable to take severe conditions, severe respiratory distress, he will be treated under ventilator. It needs a artificial support of ventilation.
Okay. Can we proceed to the next one, sir? Srinivas, sir. Is vaccine the only cure?
Vaccine is definitely one of the solution, but not it is the only cure.
Okay.
Because development of vaccine, it will take some time. And like now, recent Serum Institute of India has told it will take at least 1 year of time to produce the vaccine. So it's not like the vaccine is one of the modality that we can initially, if we get the vaccine earlier, so we can immune the people like artificially. Okay, so natural immunity is only through like the a person has to get infected, then he has to fight with the disease and he should get immune. Some people will get the symptoms, some people won't get the symptoms. So in this way, they start developing their own immunity. So, vaccine is an alternative method, like it is another method for this prevention of this disease.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, vaccine is remote possible. That means it takes time. So if we want get a good potent vaccine, it takes nearly 1 year from now. So by that time, the pandemic might come down. That's what we are expecting. So the best way where the countries will be getting the immunity is by a slow method of transmission of the disease. That means it progresses slowly among the community, and it has to go in that way.
Okay. Okay. Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay. What are the precautions we need to take at home, offices during and post lockdown?
Yeah, actually, lockdown is something a preparatory phase for the public, because people are now getting themselves accustomed to stay indoors, maintain social distance, and avoid social gatherings and so on. So the real game starts after the lockdown is over. More and more people will be coming out, so they will be again going to their workplace, etc. So everywhere they need to take proper precautions like hand hygiene and uses of mask and taking care of the personal belongings, like it may be a mobile phone, goggles, a keychain of a car or a vehicle or whatever it may be. So all these things, after they come back to the house, they need to be properly sanitized and kept at a place where others will not be able to touch it. So it cannot, the life will not be the same as earlier. So you need to have a self-discipline in this time. So we need to see that proper discipline manner you need to lead a life so that you will not be able to come in contact with the people in your house also. For example, the 60 plus age group and the children. So better is keep them as far as possible so that they will not be transmitting the disease. The major problem is many times above 60 years people are mostly affected. So we need to proper care that we will not be coming in close contact with them, and as much as possible try to maintain a distance at least a minimum of 6 feet. So the social distancing is a way of life and it has to be followed scrupulously.
Okay, sir. And Prasad sir, is there anything to add?
Yeah. Like it's like to make it like it's more of like we should be taking into like personal hygiene and respiratory hygiene, and all the officers, especially all the officers, all the people who are going to officers has to be given prior, I can say, training, like regarding how do you take care of your personal hygiene and how do you take care of respiratory hygiene. And also the office should be equipped with this hand rub dispensers, either it can be soap based or an alcohol based, and it should, people should be trained like, okay, so how if it is an soap based, how much time at least you should wash your hands for 40 seconds. If it's alcohol based, okay, at least for 20 seconds. And the techniques to be, they should be taught the techniques. And the officer should also be ready with this hand rub dispensaries also. And from respiratory hygiene, all the employees should be very clearly say that the one important point is that if they have any symptom, that what we are talking about, any of the symptoms of COVID, ask them to stay at home. Stay at home if you're sick. That is the first key important message that should be a train to all the employees. Stay at home if you're sick. And because it is a droplet spread. Okay, it transmits from person to person through droplet spread. So the role of mass will be there. So okay, so coming to role of mask is talking about. So mask to be wear only for the people who are symptomatic, those who have produced any of the symptoms, any of the post symptoms, important symptoms that we have discussed before. So mask should be wear by those people. Remember, other people, they can use any cloth made masks. And I was talking about social distancing, and 3 feet with general population, and 6 feet for the people who are deceased. The person, we know that the person is having any of the symptoms, you have to be at least 6 feet away from the person. For other person, it should be at least 3 feet distance. You should maintain 3 feet distance. So that the take-home message is that they should be officials, all the employees should be trained regarding the respiratory and the personal hygiene.
Going on, why we need to have lockdown and social distancing?
So because we know this is a pandemic disease, and it is spreading very fastly from person to person. So to break the chain of infection, lockdown is an important measure, an important epidemiological measure. So it will break down the chain of infection, the spread of COVID virus from person to person. Because there is a limited mobility, the virus also can't spread as quickly. And another thing very important was talking about this lockdown gives a scope for us to prepare for upcoming new cases once the lockdown again when we are free of lockdown. So there may be chances of increased number of cases. So it gives a chance for all of us to get prepared for especially health facilities, administrative facilities, to how to tackle this when the number of cases are more. So we should be able to tackle. So it is like it will give a chance for preparation. It's like a we will be prepared for the ready for the attacking this coronavirus. And social distance I was talking about, because it is a respiratory spread. Disease spreads with from one person to to droplet spread. So social distancing is an important key thing that we can reduce the spread of disease, and we can cut the chain of infection.
Okay, going on. What is break the chain, flattening the curve above? How can we help with it?
Yes, this
Srinu- Hello.
I was talking about the question, the first previous question you was asking about lockdown. Okay, so while doing the lockdown, what we are trying to break the chain. Okay, simply I just have one paper with me. Okay, sheet of paper. Okay, see, if you see this, if you don't have a lockdown, there will be a sudden upsurge of cases. Within short span, there will be more number of cases. So whenever there is more number of cases after outbreak, it will be very difficult for the administration, for the health facilities to act upon, and the number of diseases, number of deaths related to that virus, COVID virus specifically speaking, will increase. So if there is a lockdown, so what we are trying to do is that we are cutting the chain of transmission. So what happens? The number of cases will be gradually coming down. So it will be flattened like this. So it will give a health system, health facility, and the administrations to get ready to face the upcoming disease, and also the outbreak. We can prevent the sudden outbreak of the disease, which is very important. We have did a very good job by doing the lockdown, because we could able to prevent that sudden outbreak. So once we can able to prevent sudden outbreak, we have a time to attack that virus in future.
Okay. Sir, Srinu sir, is there anything there?
Yeah,
Please.
so actually breaking the chain is something like, for example, one positive case is likely to affect more than 400 to 500 people. So at some point when you are trying to remove some persons who are transmitted in this process, so the number of persons who are affected will be lessened. So that's how we're trying to break the transmission of the disease. So that's why the patient or the suspect should come early to the health facility, and at the same time he should be very clear about his contacts. For example, whom he have met before he is suspected, or if for example if he is tested positive, so the last 1 week or 10 days whom he have met. So we need to give the information properly, so that we'll be able to track and trace the people, and we'll be able to reduce the burden and the spread of the disease. So it's something like the people responsibility also plays a very important role in that. So what we are seeing is sometimes people are not giving a proper history regarding the information. So that is creating a lot of problems. So the public has a major role to play in this, and they need to follow scrupulously the guidelines which are being addressed by the government of India or the local administration or whatever.
Can we proceed along?
Yeah.
Okay. When we go out, what precautions should we take to protect ourselves from coronavirus? Srinu sir.
Yeah. So actually what I'm observing is many times the people are wearing a mask or just tying a handkerchief or whatever it may be. And I doubt many people are not having a knowledge regarding what may be the other modes of spread of the disease. So just in fact, wearing a mask is mandatory because, for example, if you go to a market, so you may be purchasing something, the person beside you or by the side of you may be sneezing or coughing. So at that time, the mask will protect you. But at the same time, when the person sneezes, as I told you earlier, the droplets will be falling on all the materials available there, if it is a market like. So again, you will be going and coming in contact with those materials, and your hands will be contaminated. So if you don't take proper precautions regarding the hand hygiene, the chance of transmission of the disease will be high. So that's why, apart from wearing a mask, the personal hygiene, that you need to use a sanitizer continuously when you go out, or when you come out of the office, or when you go to supermarket, or whatever it may be. You should see that your hands are properly washed. As told earlier, minimum of 20 seconds with a proper soap or a hand wash. So whatever it may be, or a alcohol based sanitizer will also help. So every time you may not have a chance to wash. So that time you need to maintain one small sanitizer in your pocket, so that you can utilize in the meanwhile whenever you feel that your hands are contaminated. So these things are very mandatory, and it should be a part of your life. So then only you will be protecting yourself, you're protecting your family, and the community at large.
Okay. Okay. Professor, is there anything to add?
Yes, I just want to add, because most of times there's a big question regarding the usage of mask. Who should use mask, all the thing. So especially when going to, I'm talking only in terms of what I'm just adding to what Vijay sir told. Uh, so coming to wearing a mask, so which type of mask to be wear? So all surgical masks to be wear by only the person who is symptomatic. Person who is showing symptoms only should use a surgical mask, and he should use for 6 hours, and it should be disposed properly. Other people who are asymptomatic, there is no need to use a surgical mask. Only cloth made mask is enough, and whenever they are venturing out, they can use a cloth based mask and they can go out.
In public places, people are setting up sanitizing tunnels, chambers. Are they fine to use?
Yeah,
Srinivas? Yeah.
yeah. Actually, this concept has started in China. So they have rampantly they have built up these chambers, sanitizing chambers, and so on. Uh, but the material which is used, the sodium hypochlorite solution is being used. That will be coming out as a spread line. So when you go inside, it starts coming out, and it will be sprayed on your body. So actually, Government of India has recently given a guideline not to encourage these chambers. Why? Because there are two things. One thing is the materials used are chemical based. So when a person enters inside a chamber, so these material, for example, sodium hypochlorite solution, it may likely spill into your eyes, okay, or onto the skin. So there is every chance of these chemicals causing irritation of the body. The second thing is, just coming out of a chamber doesn't mean that you are fully sanitized. So the people will be given a wrong notion that you will be free of the disease or free of the germs once you enter into the tunnel coming out. So, and in fact, there is no much literature regarding that. These chambers are very effective in containing or sanitizing the persons who are passing in that. So it may be some percentage, not much, as per the information available. So use of chambers is not really beneficial to the community.
Okay. So, Professor, is there anything else?
Nothing.
Fine. Okay. When we go out and buy fruits, vegetables, groceries, etc., what precautions should we take?
Yeah. So generally, the vegetables and fruits which we bring from outside. So first thing you need to do is you have to identify a common bag. Every time you need to take the same bag when you're going out. So this bag should be kept outside the house, and all the vegetables or fruits, whatever you brought, you put them in a basket. Okay. So after you put them in the basket, if possible, expose them to the sun for some time. Thereafter, you prepare a salt solution. Just add salt to the water and soak all these vegetables in the salt water, retain it for some time, and then after you remove these things and again wash thoroughly and again wash them with fresh water. Then you dry all these vegetables and fruits and then they'll fit for consumption. So many times what happens is some people are advising usage of chemicals like Dettol and all, because these are all food items which are need to be consumed. The usage of chemicals is not advised. And one more precaution to be taken is, after you clean all these vegetables, you yourself should take proper precaution in washing your hands properly, right from the elbows to the hands. From this part, all these things should be properly hand washed thoroughly and cleanly.
Okay, sir. Okay. Professor, is there anything else?
No.
Okay. Moving on. What kind of care should we take with respect to nutrition, especially for children?
Yes, this nutrition part is very, very important, because we have to develop our own immunity to fight regarding this virus, COVID virus. So we have to be more cautious. We should be looking that our food should include foods rich in vitamin A, vitamin C, and zinc. So foods which are rich in vitamin, like egg, cheese, milk, butter, and like amaranthus, akol, green leafy vegetables, they're good in vitamin A. Carrot. So we should make at least one session to be with vitamin A rich foods, and foods like rich in vitamin C. We like lemon, oranges. We can have like lemon juice, or we can have an oranges, like in between, like a snack type. And foods rich in zinc, especially we have chickpeas, lentils, beans, pottagodugulu, we have mushrooms, and palakora, and nuts like cashews, peanuts, almonds. Next, గోర్చిక్కుళ్ళు, బఠానీలు, ఇవన్నీ జింక్ రిచ్ ఉంటుంది, జింక్ అండ్ ఆల్సో వైటమిన్ ఏ. సో ఒక పూట వైటమిన్ ఏ రిచ్ ఫుడ్, ఒక పూట జింక్. సో మనం మిక్స్ చేసి లైక్ బ్యాలెన్స్డ్ గా తీసుకోగలిగితే, తీసుకోవాలి కూడా, తీసుకుంటేనే అది మనకి వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ ఇట్ విల్ ఇంప్రూవ్ అవర్ ఇమ్యూనిటీ, అండ్ వీ కెన్ ఏబుల్ టు ఫైట్ this disease.
Okay. Srinu sir, is there anything else?
Yeah, as Dr. Prasad said, so there's no specific diet plan for this COVID. So only thing is you need to improve your immunity. So protein rich, vitamin rich foods, if you take normally, it will be good. And you should take care of the elderly people and the children. So these two are more vulnerable groups. So these people should be properly taken care of, and diet should be seen. And especially children, you should see that they are not going to malnutrition, like they should not go to the underweight. At the same time, exercise is one way of increasing your immunity. So that's also very much important, and day to day you need to see that you spend some time for activity in the way that will also improve your immunity. So diet with exercise will be a good way of leading a healthy life.
After this lockdown, can we come back to normal and socialize like before?
Yeah, as I told you earlier, this lockdown is like a preparation for an exam. So the real exam starts after the lockdown is removed. So this preparatory phase should be used, or this is how the government is giving you guidelines regarding various things like social distancing and avoiding social gatherings. So these two will be continued for some period of time, minimum of 6 months. So life will not be the same as earlier. It's a fact, and it has to be accepted, and we need to follow that. So if we follow these guidelines, it is not only beneficial to us and the family, but also to the community at large. So if anybody planning to do such things, we should avoid those things, discourage them to do such things, and see that they're postponed, and better see that you are with your family, or if you go to a job, maintain social distancing minimum of 3 feet, and see that you are back home. So the earlier concept of social gatherings and all will not be for at least minimum of 6 months in future.
Professor sir, is there anything else?
Yeah, nothing. It's like, this lockdown is a preparatory phase. You are prepared for examination. Okay, so get ready to write the exam for next 6 months. So there is no We should be the concept of there's no point of like we can socialize like normal before.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Moving on. Um, okay. These are the regular formulated questions, sir. But we are going to have the questions which are being asked by the participants. So, coming now, what are the effects of hydroxychloroquine on COVID-19? Yeah.
So actually, hydroxychloroquine is generally used for as an anti-malaria drug, but various studies have shown that it is effective and it can be utilized for this disease. But there are some contraindications where ECG needs to be taken, and where QT prolongation, that is in the ECG, any abnormal findings are there, they should be using with caution. But one more thing I want to clarify is hydroxychloroquine should not be used by the common man and everybody in the community. The ICMR has given a clear-cut guideline that it should be used as a prophylaxis for healthcare workers. Prophylaxis means those who are going to treat the patients, those who are dealing with the patients, those who are coming across these patients. It may be doctors, it may be paramedical workers, nurses, etc. So they are supposed to utilize it. But what I observed in the recent times is the medical shops are completely devoid of this drug. So in social media, it was running like hydroxychloroquine can be used to prevent COVID. So people, I think they have consumed it, because when I came across some medical shop, they are saying that the drugs are exhausted. So the problem in India is over-the-counter drugs. Whatever you want, you can claim from the medical shop. So which is very wrong thing and wrong notion. So these drugs should be utilized exclusively for healthcare workers as per the ICMR guidelines.
Okay, sir. Okay. And next one, this is
Yeah,
from.
before that,
Yeah,
I just
sure.
want to add one point regarding this. Like now, why we should not indiscriminate use of chloroquine, especially in adults. This as a chloroquine has one of the important kind of the major side effect of QT prolongation. So it should not be used in cardiac patients. Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And going on with the next one, if there are any recommendations for these type of masks that general public need to use, this is from Dr. Sitaram Prasad Garu. And who is going to take this, sir?
Yeah, actually, the cloth masks which are being used by the common public is accepted. It is sufficient. So, for direct frontline workers, frontline healthcare workers means who are dealing with COVID-19 patients, they need to use N95 masks. And if you're treating a normal person, a surgical mask is sufficient. This is also for healthcare workers. So surgical masks, N95 masks should be exclusively reserved for healthcare personnel only. The cloth masks are sufficient for the common man, common public. So people should not run for this surgical masks or the N95 masks. Why? Because we have a limited supply of this N95 masks. So if these are utilized now, and if there is a steep rise in the number of cases, the N95 supply will be a problem, and that creates a scarcity, and it will be a real threat for the healthcare workers. So whoever are dealing, are likely to deal, the healthcare workers, the doctors, the paramedical workers, the frontline workers, they need to use the N95 masks, or if it's a lower risk area, surgical masks are sufficient.
Okay.
Okay. Professor, is there anything?
Yeah. Again, I just want to say for general public, if a person, a general public person, if he or she has symptoms of COVID, then they have to use this surgical masks, and it should be used for every 6 hours. It should be replaced. 6 to 8 hours it should be replaced, and it should be thrown in a dustbin. Okay. For other people, there is no need for usage of especially this medical mask. Cloth mask is sufficient.
One more point I like to add.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, when you are using this mask, you should take proper care in removing the mask. So sometimes we can see people, if they like to talk, they'll remove the mask or put it in their pocket, again take it and again put it out. So that is a wrong way of using the mask. So when you use a mask, it should be used properly. And it should not touch the front part. The exposed part should not be touched by the person, and it should be removed properly. And it should be, for example, if it's a cloth mask, they should be put in a water, use some Dettol or a soap, wash it thoroughly, dry again, and again you can reuse because it's a cloth mask. So these cloth masks are not disposable. So cloth masks are reusable, but maximum of 6 hours, and after that remove it properly, put it in a soap and dry it, and then you can reuse it.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Going on with the next one. This is from Dr. Bhavani Garu. Is there any difference in lifespan of virus on surface?
Have seen a lot of messages that say, this virus has different lifespan. So for paper and normal tissue things, it will be around 3 hours. For wooden surfaces, for wooden surfaces, it will stay around 2 days. And for glass, it stays around 4 days. And for stainless steel, it stays around 7 days. So the different lifespan for this virus. That's why that's the role of hand sanitization is become a key role in prevention of this COVID.
And is there anything else to it?
Yeah, that's why the offices are set up, whichever it may be. So proper care should be taken to clean all the surfaces on a regular basis. For example, the common handling things like staircase, you will be taking the support of that side wall, or you'll be using the switches, so where you directly come in contact, or the door knobs. So these are common areas. Definitely they need to be sanitized, or they should be cleaned with hypochlorite solution regularly, so that it will not be a threat, and it will be, because many people will be coming for the offices, etc. So those public places, they should be taking proper care in this matter, and sanitization procedures should be properly taken care of.
Moving on with the next one. This is from Kavya P. Okay. Now that China says the negative cases have become positive again in 30 to 70 days, does it mean we don't have cure?
Actually, there are studies in Korea where they have seen that there is reinfection. That is, already cured cases later they have been tested positive. So actually, as I told you earlier, the trend or the dynamics of the disease are changing day by day, and we are learning new things. So there is a chance of reinfection, and maybe there may be a chance of positive again. So once you are affected by the disease, that doesn't confer a lifelong immunity, but it may be less virulent if you are affected again. So the antibodies are a basis to know whether you are affected early or not, and depending upon that, we'll decide whether it is a second infection or it is a reinfection or it is a negative, depending upon the test.
Okay, sir. Professor, is there anything else?
Yeah, the question is like, we don't have cure, no need to seek the question. I think it's someone is panic about that. No need, we don't have a cure. It's not like we should develop our immune system. We should be ready to follow all the preventive procedures, and we should be ready for that, because it is a novel virus. That's why it's named as novel coronavirus. No one knows that exactly what is the disease dynamics. So we should not get panic, but we should be ready to face it. Should be ready to face it by following all the rules set by our government and be more responsible.
Okay. Yeah. And moving on to the next one. What is the procedure for COVID-19 investigation? This is from B. Aparna Garu.
Yeah, as on to date, we have a control room in Visakhapatnam. So if any suspected case or anybody whom they feel that they are likely to be suffering from the disease, or if they feel that they are came in contact with any positive person, they can be call the control room numbers, and immediately they will be arranging the vehicle to see that they get tested. Apart from that, the household survey is being done by the volunteers, the health volunteers and all. So there also in the household survey also, if anybody is screened to have symptoms like cold, cough or fever, they're all being line listed, and these cases are being pooled at one point, and the swabs will be taken. The nasopharyngeal swabs are being taken. So this is the present procedure which is being followed. So testing is not a problem. So there is access for the testing facilities. So no need to panic about that. So everyone who he or she feels that some XYZ needs to be tested, they're at liberty and they can go for testing. And one more thing I want to tell is there is stigma regarding the disease. That, for example, if a person is branded as a COVID positive, the people, neighbors, and all are looking at them in a different way where they are feeling embarrassed. So, actually, you can see recently the Honorable Chief Minister himself got tested for the through the rapid diagnostic test. So that is just to make the public understand that this is also a disease similar to something else. Like we have HIV, we had SARS, and we have swine flu, so on and so forth. So it's the same way, this disease also can be screened. So whenever you have a chance or any doubt, definitely take a decision to get tested. Don't hesitate to do it, and the facilities are available, and there are no restriction for that.
Okay. Professor, is there anything else to add?
Nothing.
Okay. Moving on with the next one. How do these masks and hand gloves protect us from coronavirus? Do they really prevent coronavirus from spreading if there is any COVID-19 patient around us? This is again from Aparna Garu.
Okay, I think I have answered this previously.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Fine. With this, we completed the questions from the chat box.
What are the effects on human body post-exposure? I mean, after completely cured, is there any chance of reoccurrence in immune-compromised people?
So actually, as I told you earlier, immunity is the best bet. So stronger the immunity, the better will be the better you will be able to fight the disease. So immunocompromised, definitely they are at risk, and the chance of the disease uh, becoming severe in them is also high. So especially comorbid conditions, for example, a person has diabetes or hypertension or cardiovascular disorders or heart problems, so they are at risk. So that's why the older people above 60 years, definitely they'll be immunocompromised, lower immunity compared to the young adults. So that's why they are at risk. So that is why these people should be safely handled. And once if the disease is transmitted in these people, the chances of disease will be high. And one more thing is, as I told you, after the generally there are literature where we have seen that the virus will be shed through the feces, okay, human excreta, for a long duration, maybe 30 to 50 days. So that's why even the toilet seat, etc., should be properly sanitized and properly cleaned before somebody uses it. For example, if a patient, COVID positive patient is there in the house, a single toilet is there, so you need to take proper care. Either you use in the last, okay, or in the first, maintain some gap and wash it. The toilet seat should be washed clearly with soap and sodium hypochlorite solution or any materials like Savlon, etc. And then it should be reused by some normal persons. So these are the areas where the chance of contamination will be there. That should be avoided.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, Professor, is there anything else?
Yeah, strike to the question. There's the chance of this usually we have a body's immunity. It is respond to the specific. This virus. It is just proteins. If the virus has a specific protein code, and this protein code, once it enters a human body, it replicate and it will produce and our our body will produce antibodies for the specific strain. Okay, so usually whenever that the person is completely cured with the specific strain of the virus, the probability of reinfection is less. Definitely, the probability of reinfection is very, very less. That's what I can say.
Yeah, Gautam, one thing that I would like to ask, which Bhavani Garu, no, Aparna Garu has asked regarding regarding the masks. So what she has asked is, along with masks, people are also using gloves. Is it really essential, and how useful is it to use gloves? Are they effective in preventing COVID-19? What their role is basically?
Like for example, if someone wears a gloves, okay, so the person has used a gloves, okay, and assuming that one person had just coughed on that table surface, and he touched that table surface. So with the gloves, again, the gloves get infected, and with this gloves, is going to spread it. So even you use gloves or your hand, the only dictum is you should use hand sanitizer.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Arun Kumar.
Yeah, please go on.
Yes, sir. Actually, I had a slight fever 30 days back.
Okay.
Used some antibiotics with the advice of a specialist, and I was normal. Again, just 1 week back, fever itself is only just normal, 98 point. Hello?
Yeah.
Please go on.
98.6 only. And even just 4 days back, 5 days back, I had some travel to my office work on bike. So again, as of now, I'm feeling a lot of weakness. There are no symptoms, no fever, no cough. Even I am able to hold the breath test for 1.5 minutes. So everything is fine, but due to this fatigue, I'm feeling the fatigue. Due to which even psychologically also, I'm feeling the sort of this one. This is the present situation. How can I counter that? Of course, one more point is from 6 to 7 days or 10 days, my sleep is not adequate. I'm not getting adequate sleep. Maybe due to that, I'm feeling the weakness or something, but I'm unable to cope it up clearly. In spite of none of the 4 symptoms as you had told. Maybe slight fever, which of course the temperature is only again 98.4. Maybe this fever symptom like lack of interest to eat. Somewhat, sometimes I have seen that, but nothing more than that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is your age?
39.
39. Okay. So do you have any history of foreign travel?
No, sir. No, I am a state government employee.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a video conference. Actually, where some 20 people attended. Everyone with masks, taking adequate care.
No,
and I'm sure every point of it.
Yeah. Okay. The history of foreign travel, first thing, or history of travel. History of you are from Visakhapatnam, right?
Yes.
So history of first question is history of foreign travel. Is there any history of last 1 month? You have any history of foreign travel? Before that, you said no.
No, sir. No. Yeah.
So you have any travel to the zones?
No.
Where red zones are more cases of no. Okay. Do you have any colleague or any person surrounding you has tested positive for this COVID?
No, sir. Not at all.
No. Right. So now we have excluded the main chances of that chance of being a COVID positive.
Yes.
So if so, one thing we can come like this weakness because you have not having any fever, only lethargic. Because that's a very generalized symptom. So if in future,
yes, sir,
if you develop any fever and any of the symptoms that what we are talking about, do get it tested. So we have a COVID helpline. and once you call for that, they will be sending a team and you will get tested.
Okay, sir. Okay. It's 104 for Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, we have other COVID helplines for Visakhapatnam also. We will share it to you, okay, with after this one.
Okay, sure, sir.
So one more thing.
And for sleep distraction, can I be advised? Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have Dr. Srinivas talk.
Yeah, actually, as per your symptoms,
Yes,
the COVID part is ruled out, and
Yes,
don't think otherwise. You can also take a psychiatric counseling. Also, counseling. It's a helpline number is there, so
okay,
where
sir.
you can just tell your symptoms and all, and you can get an advice from that part also. So we'll be giving you that numbers also. So if possible,
Okay,
you
sir.
can talk to them, because this is depending upon your symptom like sleeplessness, generalized weakness, so on.
Yes,
So
sir.
for these things, definitely you can take counseling and advice from the psychiatry part. So we have some psychiatry counseling numbers, like if you note down, you can note down now.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
984-990-3056.
Okay, sir. 984-990-3056.
So this is from the Visakhapatnam part.
Yes, sir.
And one more from NIMHANS Bangalore also, they have started one COVID helpline. You can note down that number also.
Yes, sir.
8046
Okay.
11
Okay, sir.
0007.
Okay, sir. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, anything you can contact, and you can also take that part also. Assessment can be taken.
Sure, sir. Thank you for both of you for your kind advice, sir. And one small thing, for children of 1.5 years, what sort of care we should take? Because it's written for 3 years below, the hand sanitizer is not advisable. So can you suggest on that?
Yeah, actually, the children, you don't give them the sanitizers at all. You need to get sanitized yourself before handling them.
Okay, sir.
So even the elders who are there, so they should see that they keep their hands clean, and if at all they are coughing or sneezing, better maintain a hand hygiene, a handkerchief, or an elbow like this. You can keep the elbow like this, so that the droplets are prevented. So with these precautions, I think you can handle the child. So child need not be sanitized. Applying sanitizer is not advisable, as you said.
Okay, so because they tend to put their hands everywhere and again in the mouth, that's where we are getting bothered actually.
You can wash them frequently with soap and water. That's enough.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sundays, I am a bank employee. So daily, I have to sit in the cash counter most of the times. And we had a case regarding in Bangalore or somewhere, cash walla vachindi anesi finalize chesaru, but otherwise then origin elag vachindi annadi kuda telidu. So we are dealing with people who are illiterate, and most of the time we handle cash. We have to give them writing వాళ్ళకి withdrawal slips అని కానీ ప్రతిదీ మనమే ఇచ్చి వాళ్ళతో చాలా క్లోజ్ ప్రాక్సిమిటీలో హ్యాండిల్ చేయాల్సిన పరిస్థితి వస్తున్నది. సో how can I will be safe, and I'm using gloves and face mask, and we have sanitizers at the entrance. ఒక పర్సన్ నుంచి పెట్టి వాళ్ళకి శానిటైజర్స్ చెప్పడం జరుగుతుంది, బట్ ఎనీవేస్ అంటే స్టిల్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ సఫిషియంట్. సో ఎందుకంటే వీఆర్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ క్యాష్, అది వాడి చేతిలో నుంచి రాలేకపోతే ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందో వీ డోంట్ నో ద ఆరిజిన్ ఫ్రమ్ వేర్ దట్ క్యాష్ హస్ కమ్. సో దట్ ఈస్ వై ఐఎమ్ కన్సర్న్.
యా, యాక్చువల్లీ ఇప్పుడు మీరు క్యాష్ హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తున్నారు కరెక్టే, బట్ యాజ్ యూ సెడ్ శానిటైజర్ వాడుతున్నారు, గ్లౌజ్ వాడుతున్నారు. సో గ్లౌజ్ యాజ్ లాంగ్ యాజ్ యూ హ్యాండిల్ దట్ క్యాష్, యూ యూజ్ దిట్ గ్లౌజ్. అండ్ ఎవరైనా పర్సన్ మీతో మాట్లాడాలి అంటే మినిమం 3 feet డిస్టెన్స్ మెయింటైన్ చేసేటట్టు చూడండి. అట్లాగే వాళ్ళు కూడా మాస్క్ వేసుకొని కానీ అట్లీస్ట్ హ్యాండ్ కర్చీఫ్ అయినా వాళ్ళు కట్టుకొని మీతో మాట్లాడేట్టుగా చూసుకోండి. అండ్ యువర్ బ్యాంక్ కెన్ డివైజ్ న్యూ వేస్, అంటే ఏంటి, రైటింగ్స్ అవి మినిమైజ్ చేసేటట్టుగా ప్లాన్ చేసుకోండి. సో దట్ ద ఛాన్సెస్ ఆఫ్ హ్యాండ్లింగ్ దిస్ పేపర్స్ ఆర్ ద కౌంటర్ ఫాల్స్ ఎక్సెట్రా, సో దోస్ థింగ్స్ విల్ బి రెడ్యూస్డ్. So reduce contact with these papers and all. As you said, cash handle చేస్తారు తప్పదు. But you are using the gloves. So ఈ cash అంతా వాడేటాక immediately after that hours are over, you remove the gloves and dispose of and wash your hands thoroughly and maintain the hand hygiene. And as I told you, 3 feet minimum distance maintain చేసుకుంటే మీకు ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉండవు.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Ramaraj garu, is there anything else?
No, thank you very much, Joshi, for organizing such a wonderful event.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I'm going to unmute you again. And next we are going to take a question from Kavya.
In the newspaper, it was said that it can be shed even in stool.
Yeah.
The virus.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah, in a positive person, it will be remaining in the stool. As I told you earlier, it may go up to 30 to 15 days or 50 days, right from the date of the person is positive. So the virus shedding will be up to maximum of 50 days. So that's why you need to take proper precaution regarding the toilet and all. The seat and all should be properly sanitized with hypochlorite solution. And if it is single toilet in the family, see that person uses last if at all any person is affected, and others use it later. In that way, you need to plan accordingly.
Yeah, I would like to ask one thing. Like many people are, I mean, even if they have a little cold, they get worried they have COVID. So, I mean, probably something on how to basically identify if they are having symptoms of COVID, or is it general cough or general cold? Is there any demarcation that a common man can do based on something?
Yes. See, this all this common cold, influenza, they all belong to the same corona family. So, but the severity is different. This COVID-19 has a greater severity. So, just for general common cold, okay, nothing to worry about it. But the person has a high fever, started coughing, then you start thinking worried of it. Only common cold, nothing to worry that much.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any queries from the participants? Or we can find one more again. Yeah, Arun, please go ahead.
Yeah, regarding the last question only, post and cough అయితే చెప్పారు, even cold చెప్పారు, even for cough also the same situation. How will we tend to identify the difference? And not normal if we get a slight cough randomly, or what
yeah,
are
it's very difficult, and it's very difficult. It's the thing is that if you have a high fever, it's typical. We are looking for the severity because COVID has little bit severe disease. Okay, so it starts with temperature, high fever, cough, sore throat. Then in the later stage, you may develop dyspnea. It's a sequence of events. Usually, it's one by one. Okay, so exactly we can't. Literally speaking, you can't exactly delineate this is COVID and this is not COVID. But the thing is, when to panic and when not to panic, that's it. Like if you're just feeling only common cold, okay, you may not be panic that much. But if you have other symptoms, high fever, your fever is not getting down, and you're having a sore throat and cough, you started coughing, then it's a thing to worry. Should think that it might be a symptom of COVID. It's all is like you're all suspects.
Okay, so, and what is exactly sore throat? I'm not getting that exact sore throat.
సోర్ థ్రోట్ అంటే గొంతు మంట కానీ గొంతు గరగరలాడడం కానీ ఏమైనా తింటున్నప్పుడు మీరు తినలేకపోవడం.
Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
So with this we conclude this meeting of Let's Combat COVID-19 Saudhan. So I thank Dr. Srinivas garu and Dr. Prasad garu for taking their time and clarifying our doubts regarding COVID-19. Thank you so much, sir.
Joshi, before ending, I want to say one we have ABC for everything. It's like A just think for avoid unnecessary venturing. A for ABC. Okay, A for avoid unnecessary venturing. Don't go out only when you need. Okay, B is behavioral change and be responsible.
Okay.
So
Okay,
behavioral
sir.
change, you should be more responsible and use mask whenever you are sick. Okay, and see for contact health personnel when you need. Just to simple remember ABC.
Okay, sir. Okay. That's so nice. Okay, sir. Thank you, all the participants, and I thank Ramaraj Garu, and Vishal Goti Garu for making the time and attending the meeting. And I thank Ravikant Garu, Joshi Garu for coordinating with this meeting and making this a success. And I thank all the participants for actively participating and for the queries. I hope everyone got their queries cleared. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.